And make sure we're muting.
We are live and welcome to the Seven Cities Shop Talk Sports Show, broadcasting from the beautiful state of Virginia to everyone all over the world. You probably just heard AB, the lieutenant, giving everybody the rules as we do in the in the back room here. But we're live right now. Of course, my name is Lawrence Johnson, Big Law, Seven Cities Shop Talk Sports creator, and of course, this show is ready to give you everything that you've been waiting for. Of course, this is an important show today. And before I get started, we want to thank you for joining us at another episode of our brand of dysfunctional camaraderie. And as of now, this shop is open. So let me go ahead and give the opening monologues from my co-host. Coming to you first, Amy. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Just got done watching UVA almost lose. They won by 3.
Yep, they sure did. We'll talk about that. Let me come to you, AB.
Hey, I was just trying to preface so that we didn't have to say during the show, hey, can somebody mute their mics because it's feedback? Sorry that y'all caught that a little bit, but I'm actually coming to you live from Baltimore today. So, switching it up a little bit, but
All right.
Having a great weekend.
Okay. Very cool. Let me come to you, Ed. Opening monologue. What you got for us? Hold on. I'll get your mute. Hold on.
I didn't want to unmute out of turn. Lord only knows.
Now you got him scared, AB.
Yeah, I can't figure it out because she's not bigger than me and I'm not married to her, so I don't get it. It's been an interesting week, hasn't it? Pitchers and catchers reported today. Thank God. The snow is the snowcrete is melting. Baseball will be here. What, this weekend? Virginia's first game is what? Softball's been kicking butt. They beat Arkansas. Yes, we have. Yeah, we have. Didn't almost lose that, did we? It's been a there's signs of life in the world, so fingers crossed.
Well, what we'll do here is okay, Wood's on the line here in the chat. Thank you for tuning in, Wood, another co-host here. He's going to be joining us in the chat, but let's just go ahead and just get into what we were going to talk about. Of course, there was a huge story that was broken last week about a player, prominent player on the football team, Jahmal Edrine. And it was a case where a young lady has accused him of rape and abduction and some other things. But one thing about this show, you guys will see that, sure, we cover sports. We also cover things that happen in life. We cover real things, and we also will have the hard conversation. So sure, we cover sports, but we also cover some of the hard subjects that are out there that happen in everyday life. So if you viewers and listeners want to chime in, please do so. But this is a serious conversation. This is a serious matter to speak of. And speaking with some folks on the crew, we felt like it was probably something that needed to be spoken about, because this is not the first time something like this has happened. It's not going to be the last. Hopefully it is the last, but it won't be. But when these things happen, life goes on, and we're still going to have these conversations, these tough conversations. And what I'll do is I'll let AB kind of open up with it based off of, what has gone on, and she can fill us in. But this is, like I said, everyone alert. This is a serious conversation about serious things that possibly happened or didn't happen. And we're going to have a real conversation about this. What's going on, Aaron? Thank you for tuning in the chat. Yes, how about it? And we're going to talk about the Cavaliers basketball team, a rapid reaction after we have this conversation. We'll also talk about the state of the football team as well. But let's go ahead and talk about this Jahmal Edrine situation right now. So let me go ahead and bring you in, AB. Oh, Chad Wood has entered the stage. Let me go ahead and bring Wood in. All right. So, the whole situation with Jahmal Edrine is very, very, very sensitive on the grounds. It's very, very it's taboo almost for even in the media, for us to really speak about it unless you really have some hard evidence or you really know something. So some of the things that I spoke about, some things that was said, with some sources or with some folks that were in the media with me this weekend, I can't necessarily share, but I will do my best to inform you viewers and listeners on what I can share with you. But AB definitely has some things to say about this situation, being that it's she and Amy are the ladies of the Seven City Shoptalk Sports crew, and I feel like they probably have the foremost opinion that we should listen to. So the floor is yours, AB. Let's go ahead and have a conversation about this situation.
So just like Law said, this is definitely a very sensitive and can be a very triggering conversation for some people. So by any means, this is not a target at anybody else who has been through this situation. I've known people personally, different things that have happened that I have seen happen or have witnessed. So I already know the triggering aspects of this. So please do not take what I say and attach it to what you personally went through, because every situation is different. However, in this situation, I have really correlated it close, especially since it is happening so close to the Kyron Lacey situation. We have a very popular athlete with Virginia Cavaliers who has been accused of something, and he's not been found guilty. Let's just say that. At this point, the law is supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. He has not been found guilty yet. A lot of things that I saw in the media over the last couple of days has been very discouraging. I have not been fond of it. And that's why I waited, and the team can attest. The first thing I said in our chat was, I'm going to wait to develop my opinion on this because we don't have all the facts. However, I have seen some media outlets that have chosen to use this as clickbait to get people to read their articles. For example, I saw an article that was talking about how many transfers that we brought in 2025 versus 2026, to use that to use him, because he said that in 2025, Jahmal, who is accused of rape and abduction, was a part of the 2025 group. His charges have nothing to do with the comparison of 2025 to 2026. What we don't need to do is use something like being charged with rape and abduction as a form of you getting clicks and reads for your articles. That's wrong. That's morally wrong to me, but I don't know where a lot of people's morals stand, but for me, that's wrong. You are using someone else's potential downfall, losing his career. We don't know what happened here, but you are using somebody's negative situation as a way to get people to read your articles. I think that's unfair, and I also think that it is not right to do that. So that's my biggest standpoint right now. I think, as the media, you need to be very, very careful on how you crucify somebody. Kyron Lacey took his life because he was found guilty of something he did not do. He killed himself, and later it came out that he was completely innocent. That kid lost everything and was on trend to be one of the best athletes we've ever seen, which is very, very sad. So in this situation, as I have read, as things have come out, I'm also disappointed from a woman's standpoint, because as women, we need to feel comfortable to be able to go and voice and know when we are voicing things that have happened, we need to know that people are going to listen. And based on what I have read today, I am disappointed in how this has played out. Based on what I read, this female said she went to the police because she wanted to check if she was clean. You don't go to the police for that. Now it's in my head, what did you go to the police for? Was there an agenda? Because Again, based on what I've read in the article, there's text proof between the two of you where you both agreed to this interaction. We automatically, for the last couple of days, have crucified Jahmal for something, and now this comes out. We need to think about what we post and what we say before we post it, because now it's coming back, and now we don't know what's true and what's false. At the end of the day, something smells very, very fishy about this. And if Jahmal is found to be let go of these charges, I'm all for him suing the absolute crap out of her and doing what he needs to do, because it's wrong. You don't drag somebody through the mud for an agenda or because you're mad at a certain situation. That is why women do not feel comfortable going and voicing that something has happened to them. Because then now look at what has happened. Now she's being questioned. Women don't want to feel like they're being questioned whether they're telling the truth or not. I have experience from people that they have never gone to the cops because they don't want to look bad. They don't want to be questioned whether they're telling the truth or not. That is not fair for anybody in this world. And then now that I look at it too, Jahmal's got money. He's got an NIL deal. So is this playing a part in it? There are so many other things that we don't know, but we've already crucified him for the last couple of days. So you can't take those things back. You can't change what you've already said. You've already tried to ruin his reputation by what he's been charged with before he's even been found guilty. As of right now, he's not enrolled in the University of Virginia, and he's not on the football team. And he might be completely innocent. So what now?
I'm going to say two things. First thing, UVA did wrong by not backing the young man. That is my personal opinion. That has got nothing to do with my job, where I work. Nothing. When you have a student that is accused of something, unless you have been found 100% guilty, you should still be enrolled in the school. You should still be on the football team. You may be put on suspension. But UVA's team as a whole, Toni Elliott, should have backed that young man. That's number one. Number two, this girl, how do I put this? The more these women cry wolf, the more women are not believed. Every single time somebody is accused of doing whatever he was accused of, I'm not even going to give it leverage. I'm not even going to say the words because I'm not going to give it validation. She accused him. It's come back out that it's a lie. And now his reputation is ruined. Another woman has put out here and seen dollar signs or whatever. And it's wrong. It's just wrong. And that's all I'm going to say. Because I could say a whole lot more, but then I might lose my job. So I'm going to put myself back on mute.
So, yeah. So, I guess for those who have been under a rock or just haven't been in tune with what's been going on with the, what happened on grounds, I can kind of let you kind of fill in on that. AB is like, the young man, and I know you probably can do the step-by-step, probably a little better than myself. But I'll let you go ahead, AB. You go ahead and give the step-by-step and how the time frame from, because this started last fall.
Yes.
And then he's convicted now. So let's give the step-by-step when it started to now.
So
wait. He is not convicted, Law.
He's not convicted.
Not convicted, but accused. Excuse me.
He's been charged. He's been charged. Yes.
That's
Okay.
a difference.
He's not been found guilty of those
Yeah,
charges.
wrong words. Sorry
Yep.
about that.
So it was reported August 25th, where the police are saying that a victim reported being sexually assaulted the day prior. So this had evidently happened on August 24th. And I will give props. The information that I'm getting is from the Augusta Free Press, even though they were the same people I just talked about who used him as a point to get clicks for a comparison to 25 to 26. They did, however, produce an article today that gave some positive light to in Jahmal's favor based on what has come out about this case. So like I said, the alleged date of this happening was August 24th. The victim went on on the 25th. The media release did not come out until February 5th. He was charged, I believe, on the 2nd. And based on what the Augusta Free Press has found out and what they have saying, the defense has said that it can see that the defense, per the progress report, concedes that the two had unprotected sex, but says the complainant's anger centered on the exposure to bodily fluids, not coercion. Furthermore, it releases that there was communication between the two and continued to be between the two all the way through October. It even goes on to say that it looks like the defense lawyer, I guess, has gone out and found out additional information where during this whole situation, this victim was out moving and having brunch and partying and visiting things, and also at that time denied in writing that she had been raped. So she came out during that time and said she had not been raped. It says, as the complainant repeatedly confirmed, a rape did not happen. But the Augusta Free Press also talks about something did happen between the two, because they also learned from the progress reporting on the bail motion that Edrine cut off communication with the victim on October 5th. So there was communication between the two from August to October. Furthermore, on October 5th, she filed a formal Title IV complaint with the university 3 days later after he cut communication with her. So this is where I start questioning things on what's going on and who knew information, because she made a claim with the university on the 8th. So who at the university knew that this was going on? But evidently the university and athletics higher ups knew at this point. We don't know who, but it didn't look like there was any conclusion that they needed to pull him from school or pull him from the football field. So if the evidence then didn't give them reason, just because he was charged here in February, why aren't you standing on the same thing that you did in October? You had his back then. You didn't believe that he needed to be pulled out of the school and off of the football team in October. So why now? And that's what's bothering me. It's bothering me because I'm reading this and I'm looking from August to now. At the end of the day, these two, it comes out in text that these two had consensual sex. Now, whether there was protection used or not, obviously, if you consent to it at that point in time, you know what you're consenting to. Whether it's protected or not, you know the consequences if you aren't protected. So you're mad because you then had exposure to bodily fluids. But that can happen even without protection or with protection. It's not promised. But at the end of the day, you had consensual. So I'm confused on how we're getting to being able to charge him with these crimes. And now you are potentially ruining his future for what?
So that question has to be answered, by the authorities. So
Absolutely.
whoever is investigating this and whoever is deciding to press the charge, it's what, Charlottesville DA.
And that's what I'm wondering. Who's pushing this? Is the girl pushing this, or is the police? Because now I'm just confused. And why? And I'm, even as a female, even as somebody in high school. We're talking about people who are in college. In high school, I knew that you don't go to the police to get a test to see if you're clean. You go to a doctor for that. So something is not adding up. This is why, like, I keep sitting here and I'm like, why would you go to the police if you're just wanting to know if you're clean? The Ed said it earlier, the math ain't mathin', where you're putting the pieces together and it's just not coming together. It's not making sense. And now we have somebody's life that's been put on hold, career that's been put on hold, and he may be completely innocent. And honestly, this girl should have to, if this comes out, for sure, because I'm not going to victim shame her. I'm just saying this stuff is not making sense. If what happened to her, I am so sorry to her. However, the pieces of this is not making sense.
The pieces, you're meaning the text messages?
The text messages, the
back
date,
and forth.
The pieces aren't coming together. If you allege that this happened in August and you knew who did it, why is it now coming February that he's being charged? Because when you had the forensics done, you could have said who it was. Then we wouldn't be going all the way until February for this to go on. The DNA doesn't take that long. If she knew who it was, they could have got it then and there. Mm-hmm. And evidently she knew who it was because her communication still went on with him until October. She was still in communication with him through October. I can tell you right now, if someone did that to me, I would not be in communication with them for months. Absolutely not. And I would be quick to tell the police what happened and who it was. So why are we drawing this out?
Well, it also wasn't done properly. If she went to the police in August just to check and see if she was clean, that's not where you go. You're right. You go to the OB, but you also go to the hospital and you get a rape kit done and you get all that stuff done. So
I guess when she went to the police, they had the forensic testing done for that.
They don't do that at the police station.
Well, she reported it then and forensics was done. So I'm assuming that means she had a rape kit.
She had to go to the hospital to get a rape kit done.
Right.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is whoever's investigating, whoever's trying to charge him, there's either something we're missing, something they're not putting out there, or there's something that I don't know. But it really bothers me that the football program, the football team, the administration at UVA, if they knew about this in October, they let that boy play football all the way through till December, and nobody had a conversation. And now all of a sudden you're kicking him off the team and kicking him out of school and taking his money from him. How is that?
Evidently the coaches didn't know. That's what I have heard.
That cannot possibly be. And if it's the DA or Commonwealth Attorney, whatever you want to call him in Virginia, that's doing this, then the Commonwealth Attorney, I mean, here's a really good example, okay? Commonwealth Attorney brought charges against a woman here in Rappahannock County for embezzlement. The victim of the embezzlement wanted to drop the charges months ago. But the Commonwealth's attorney said, nope, we're going forward. Well, they had the trial. All the charges were dropped from the jury. Only one charge was sent to the jury, and they found her not guilty in 24 minutes. It's ridiculous. They waste so much time on stupid things and things that don't even pan out. And you've got a Commonwealth attorney going after this kid. Even after he's seen all these text messages, something's just not right.
The problem that I have also is that he still has not been given a bond. Like, he's still sitting in jail. For what? For what?
He's not been given a bond amount, and he's still sitting in jail?
He's still sitting there.
Since the 5th of February.
The 2nd or 3rd.
He needs a new attorney.
And I'm gonna say this too, because, you know, I see Ahmad's comment about this is America. The sad thing is we see this happening to Black athletes and Black individuals, Black men, all the time. Race should not play a factor in this, but it does. I don't know the race of the female. So, but at the end of the day, Black men get found guilty of a lot of things that they may not be guilty of. A lot of the times. The court systems, the judicial system is not always fair to that race. And we know that. That's been known. But right now, I'm not understanding why he doesn't have bond. And I didn't understand it then. Like, I didn't understand why he hasn't been given it before. And Ahmad said he has court date tomorrow morning. But we're going on a week. Like, he's been arrested for a week. And he's still sitting there. And now these texts have come up. This information's come up, but hopefully he gets it tomorrow. I mean, I pray that he gets it tomorrow, because it's so unfair that he has not been found guilty, but he's being treated like he's guilty. And unfortunately, the way that things have gone lately, you're right, Ahmad, the system was not designed to be fair. And this is why we are where we are. This is why people argue so many different things. This is why we had the Black Lives Matter movement. This is why we're mad about the ICE stuff. All of this is coming together because none of it is designed to be fair to everybody. And we're going down a whole different rabbit hole here, but it all comes together. There's one reason that it's not fair, and it's because of the way that we have developed hate. And I'm not going to go down that, because that'll make me more mad than I already am. But at the end of the day, he's still sitting there. My heart hurts for him. And like I told you guys before in the chat, if he's guilty, shame on him. If she's lying, shame on her. And I stand by that. I'm not going to victim shame her, because I don't know what happened that day. But at the end of the day, based on this information that we have received, Jahmal should not be sitting in jail. He should not have been unenrolled from the school, and he should still be on that football team. Even if he is going to be just suspended during this process, that should have been it until more evidence came out. But again, I love UVA to death, but is this UVA protecting themselves? Because they handled the Chris situation really wrong. And then he was still in school, and multiple people were shot and multiple people were killed. UVA had to pay a pretty penny to, deal with that situation. Is this them covering from also being scared because what happened the last time? This is not the same situation. This is not the same situation. And who's to say we don't know what happened here? This is all alleged. I'm loving everything that Ahmad is saying right now. Jahmal can't get this time back. Yes, it's a week, but jail does stuff differently to people. Being charged with stuff like this is different for people. He always is going to have people looking at him questioning if he really did this or not. Is this the type of person he is? And at the end of the day, I don't believe that this is the type of person that Jahmal is. Based on what I'm reading, this is not Jahmal. This is a situation of a girl being mad at a situation she put herself in, agreeing to have consensual sex with him. And that's where I'm at. And I'm going to behave because now I'm getting angry. My cheeks are getting a little red.
Well said by both the ladies in the house, 760 Shoptalk Sports. You know, this is a tough a conversation to have, but it's one that needs to be had. It's a situation that goes on a lot. Believe it or not, it goes on a lot, and it happens both ways. You have some young men that are unlawful and monsters out there, and you have some young ladies who are equally as trying to take advantage of the situation. You know, it's just going to be a was Ball Hawk, you saying, yeah, it's a tough conversation. Yeah, tough conversation for sure, but I think it's one that needs to be had. I mean, if we don't talk about things like this, a lot of things like this get swept under the rug. And it doesn't get worked out between people who may feel different ways. Of course the facts will come out, and maybe some facts, well, based off of some text messages, if those are legit, some facts have come out, and there are some things that are contradictory to what was said when this statement first broke, when this case first broke. Ed, anything you want to add to any of this? I know, Wood, you're kind of playing the back on this, but Ed, anything you want to add to this conversation? I know I've had you quiet up there for a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna unmute you.
I'm sitting over here in the corner trying to behave myself, trying very hard. I think I'm doing okay so far, but I'm about to open my mouth. So, that being said, I don't know. As a girl dad, we used to have a rule in my house that you had if you hurt my little girl, you had a half an hour to turn yourself into the police. Otherwise, you were mine. And even though she's in Charlotte and 5 hours away, the half-hour rule still applies. There's a lot about this that does not make sense. It does not sit well with my Swiss cheese brain, but the timeline doesn't make sense. It sounds like a rape kit was done at the hospital, but the rape kit's not going to tell us anything. I don't think the rape kit is going to tell us anything that we didn't already know. He's not denying that they had sex. He's just saying it was consensual. I know that's not the only thing in the rape kit, but he hasn't disputed yet that the sex happened. The text in between them. I mean, I can see a lot of people probably say, well, why would she text him if he raped her? Most of you are probably too young to remember the Clarence Thomas, Anita Hill fiasco. She accused current Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas of sexually harassing her, but she continued to follow him from job to job. And some of her accusers said, well, if he was so terrible, why did you keep following him? It's the continued texting doesn't necessarily convince me one way or the other. I continue to be disappointed by UVA insofar as they will cut you loose to protect the brand, and they won't think twice about it. Of course, that's the case with a lot of schools and a lot of
High-end corporate. A lot of high-end corporate is going to do that.
Yeah, they'll dump you as soon as look at you. So I am disappointed that they didn't stand by the kid. It's sort of like AB was saying earlier. If it's bad enough not to let him back into school, then why did you let him play last fall? If it's not bad enough to suspend him from playing, why is the kid still in school? It's I know they can't be seen as running interference for the kid, but by the same token, how about we just put him on suspension? You stay away from the team until this is resolved. I don't know what was so hard about that. The young man can still continue with his education. It's
Ballhawks fan there. He wasn't charged.
I think that's what the hearing tomorrow is for, isn't it?
I get that he was not charged in August. I get he was not charged in October. However, if the administration of the school was made aware in October, then so wasn't everybody else on the football team.
Yeah. If the university knew, what did they know and when did they know it? Yeah,
exactly.
It's Richard Nixon all over again.
Well, this is what I could say, and I'm gonna give it back to you guys in a sec. And I have a credible source saying that the coaches did not know for sure. Now, the school may be a different animal, and the officers or the police department for the school, but from the coaches' standpoint, the coaches did not know. That's from a media source that I kind of tracked down a couple, and I got the same answer from both of my sources within the media here in our community. It was that the coaches didn't know about this. They were blindsided by it. But we they're doing their investigation now. Ballhawk saying if it's an investigation, everyone doesn't have to. That's right. Everyone, and because of the sensitivity of the situation, they probably kept that under wraps until they Commonwealth's attorney felt that it was strong enough to push it forward. Whoever you said, the DA or the Commonwealth's attorney, probably it was strong enough to probably push it forward. But from what I understood, the coaches did not know of it. And they're very credible. Would you want to add to that?
I was just wondering if now that we're with NIL, are players now considered employees?
I would think so. You signed a contract.
So you could say then that this is a personnel matter and we can't discuss it.
For sure. They can say that anyway. I want to say that falls under HIPAA, right, Amy?
Yeah.
Anything like that falls under HIPAA, whether
it feels like they cut the kid loose.
But I think at the end of the day, though, it could, and I could be wrong. I don't know what the rules are.
Oh, wait. Ballhawk says no.
No what?
They're not considered employees.
Not considered employees?
Oh, wow. They're not.
Because I know they've been fighting that. They've been fighting that tooth and nail.
The school is still not going to discuss disciplinary action against a student.
It's federal.
It's still a privacy act. They're still not saying anything.
Right.
But here's the other thing that bothers me to no end. If this kid had rape tendencies, I'm sorry, I've been around enough people. If you've got somebody that's if he's going to do that, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, like if he's a predator.
Is there a prior history?
Right.
Not only that, but they look at women differently.
Well,
and
wait. How are we going to determine if the kid is a predator?
I'm just saying this kid is around a group of young men all the time. Do you actually think that if I don't know, I better keep my mouth shut. I got to shut up.
Well, now, sure. And I'm gonna go kind of what on Ahmad was saying. As a school doesn't have to disclose that, we as fans feel like we have the right to know. I'm not saying, and I know you're not saying that directly to me, but I don't feel like I have a right to know. However, when it comes to now looking at the fact, as a fan, I had to say I'm not going to pass judgment on this kid until we know the facts. And that's even as a woman, I had to do that because I also know how the system is now. And I had to step out of that personal feeling of it and had to say this stuff happens all the time where people make claims that aren't true, or maybe they are. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to pass judgment on somebody until I know the true facts of the situation. And
Yeah.
Exactly.
The first thing
really
that
irritates me that they've passed judgment on this kid. They've kicked him off the team. They've kicked him out of school, and they've said, "Go sink or swim by yourself because we are not supporting you." That makes me so damn mad.
Well, then don't read the comments.
I get where where Ahmad is coming from, where he's saying that any employer would do that. And he's right. Any employer probably would do that, especially if they're being charged, with something of this nature, to protect their business. And I get that aspect. However, now we're at a different point. We are at a different point where now facts have come out, and we're like, I hope that my biggest thing is I hope that UVA will do the right thing and will bring this kid back without hesitation if he is found not guilty, because that is the right thing to do.
The semester's already started. He's not gonna sit around until fall, is he?
He can come back in the summer.
Well, okay, he can come back and finish his degree, but he's not. I mean, as far as playing,
he can come. Yeah, he'll be.
He has another year, but would he even want to?
Well, I mean, that's what we're questioning, like, because now he has this. This is like you already have labeled him as this, and this is what he's going to carry. This young man is going to carry this because of what she has come out and said, which is what has pissed me off. Because if it's not true, this man will forever carry it on his back that he was accused of something like this. He was put in the media. And that's why I was quick. You can go to Augusta Free Press and see my comments, because I did not think it was fair. And let me put this up here.
I don't think I have to, but okay.
We're not having this conversation tonight for us to get views, for us to get comments.
Right.
We're having this conversation because it needs to be had. And this is the conversation that needs to be had. Not using his downfall or his potential downfall as a way to get people to read your freaking articles. It's wrong. He's already being labeled. This is not fair to him.
You are 100% correct.
Absolutely right.
Whoever wrote that shit at the Augusta Free Press feels like a complete asshole now. To use him as a comparison to 25 transfers to 26 transfers, use his charges as he was part of the 2025 class, Jahmal Edrine, who's been charged, that was irrelevant. You did that to bring attention to your article. And that's pathetic. That's truly pathetic. And that is what has grinded my gears about this whole situation. The media, and that's what's wrong with media today. We come together and we try to bring light on things and we try to be positive. But there are some media outlets that truly are so negative and use people's negative things that are happening in their life as a way for them to get clicks, for them to get views, for them to make money. This kid is sitting in a jail cell for something that he may not have even done, and you are getting views off of that. That pisses me off. Yeah. That's where I'm at. And I'm going to be quiet now because I'm going to go on a rant again, and I'm going to let y'all talk because I'm going to go on a rant, and I'll be on this forever.
Yeah, like you were saying, Ballhawk, it's you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. I would like to have. Was the decision not to come back to school his decision, their decision, a joint decision? Yeah, that's the young man is like you said, he's missing time that he can't get back, and that seems less than fair. But I know fair is the last thing the justice system is. So
yeah, this is and this is why I didn't do a single episode on this. Hey, I mean, I understand why you didn't ball hawk, you know, and I know, you know, we definitely, you know, we're gonna have this conversation in Seven Cities for sure. It's just a matter of, you know, kind of figuring out exactly how we're going to get this message across and how we're going to have this conversation. Of course, that's what we do. That's what we do here, you know, and to have the platform open for everyone else, that's also what we do. So, because I would rant like you, AB. Okay, yeah, look at Ball Hawk all over the in the message in the chat tonight. But yeah, so, you know, let's just say things happen good for the young man. Is there an avenue for him to come back? I guess that's the question. Based off of where we think things are leaning, based off of the text messages, you know, is there a way back, a path back for this young man? Maybe you can help with some of that and that question, Ball Hawk. But AB or Amy, would you guys like to maybe fill in on that or answer that question for me? Is there a way back for this young man?
I mean, I think it's going to be personal. I mean, number one, I think it's going to be UVA. It's going to be UVA. The UVA needs to do the right thing. And I'll just say that if he's innocent, UVA better do the right thing. Because as a fan, I can't get behind. It's going to be very hard for me to get behind a university who can't get behind somebody like that. Because this stuff happens all the time, and it is pushed under the rug.
It really does. It really does.
But because he's an athlete, it's not being pushed under the rug. Because he's making a lot of money on an NIL deal, it's not being pushed under the rug. It's not being hidden because he's in the public eye.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Does he want to come back?
That's a good question.
If he is found not guilty, UVA needs to do the right thing and bring this kid back.
At least ask him to come back.
And pronto. At this point, he's only missed a week of class. You know, I'm not sure I don't know how fast it can be done. And Ahmad's right, he's still betrayed. But UVA still needs to give him that option. UVA still needs to give him that option.
Let me get Wood. Wood has something he wants to make a quick comment. I'm coming back to you, AB. What were you going to say, Wood?
Hey, real quick. So I won't comment a lot because I know some people involved, but multiple detectives were given information about what happened, and multiple people had different opinions, pro and con. Went to the Commonwealth attorney, and Commonwealth decided to press charges, but not all detectives involved decided they wanted to press charges. And I don't want to overstep, but I think it's a weak case at best. So I don't want to comment too much, but not all detectives involved wanted to press charges.
New information, AB. Come on back.
I respect that, Chad. And I mean, it kind of goes off of what Amy said. The Commonwealth's attorney pushes a lot of stuff that really shouldn't even be pushed. I mean, because everything goes to them. I don't know if a lot of people know how the justice system works, but like a cop may not pursue something. So I'm just going to use a hypothetical situation just to kind of put this into context. So let's say there was a child who turned 18 recently, and he has a girlfriend. He's still in school. He's got a girlfriend still in school, right? They're seniors in high school. So, you know, anything can happen, but let's say thank God they put some rules into place to where they can't like automatically charge. But let's say, you know, a kid is 18, is in a relationship with a girl that is 17. The Commonwealth's attorney can choose to put, even though like the parents don't want to push charges, the Commonwealth attorney can still press charges, whether the parents want to or not. However, they put in rules like different, contexts and things like the Romeo and Juliet law, some different things like that, protect things like that from happening. However, if a cop reports that, an 18-year-old's with a 17-year-old, but they don't press charges, the Commonwealth's attorney can still choose to do that. The Commonwealth's attorney can pursue it. So just because it's still going to go to their desk. So based on what this sounds like, there really wasn't, I guess, enough to charge him from a cop standpoint, right? But once it got to the desk of the Commonwealth's attorney, they're choosing to push this. But again, shout out to Jahmal. His family and him went and got one of the best lawyers, from my understanding, and they're fighting this. And they have every right to fight it. But I will say, Ahmad, you're right. That box is different. The box that he is in a 4x4 cell. And he has a lot of time to think. And he's got a lot of time to think about how his life is being affected. Again, this is why I'm translating it to the Kyron Lacey situation. He knew he was innocent and he was sitting in a cell. He ended up killing himself because he knew he was innocent. And guess what? After he killed himself, video released that he was innocent. I bet you a lot of people feel really stupid right now. They took a life from somebody. And right now, this is what we are doing to Jahmal. We are taking part of his life from him that he cannot get back.
Right. Absolutely right.
And a lot of people are looking at him not as Jahmal Edrine. They're looking at him as a black man that has hurt somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's the justice system.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this too. One more thing. We didn't have a problem like really quickly releasing another athlete, I think, this season for like a traffic violation. So in comparison, like this is just showing you how serious UVA takes situations. So I understand why they, have temporarily released him. But again, I hope that there has been communication from the university to Jahmal at this time. Like there is ways to communicate to him. He has a lawyer. So the higher ups at UVA could get him word, to let him know that it's not that they have let him down. At this time, they have made no comments. The Augusta Free Press, again, has continued to make comments about how UVA hasn't released or won't comment on this. They're not going to. And I think, again, number one, I can't say for sure. Number one, they don't want to make any comments towards the situation because they don't know what the outcome of this is going to be. They don't want to negatively impact Jahmal any more than he already is. The media is doing enough crucifying this kid.
Yeah.
UVA is not going to say anything else.
But UVA has negatively impacted him by kicking him off the team and kicking him out of school. But now, again, because that's wrong.
But that's all businesses. That's university is still a business.
I don't care if it's a bit. If I got charged with the DUI, but I wasn't drunk.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm not going to get.
We're talking about a DUI in comparison to rape. Two different.
But again, if this CA brought this because he thinks that this is going to be, what do you call it, high what do you call it, law, help me,
high profile.
a high profile case, and this is going to help him get up higher. If it's probably not the full-on Commonwealth attorney, it's probably an assistant. It's going to probably help him because it's a high profile. It's a UVA football player, just got done playing football and raped this girl before the football season. if
I
No,
you,
think
no, it's
I
it's the
think
Commonwealth. It's the Commonwealth attorney. It's not a system.
I think Ballhog has a point with some of that. If that if I got charged with rape, I think any company, not talking about a school, any company would part ways with me immediately. Just based off of the negative press that's going to bring them. Now, because once it gets out in the ether and it's out there,
Right.
and they want to distance themselves from that as soon as possible. Now, things can always be repaired on the back end if I want it, if I want to go that way, if I'm innocent and I want to go back that way, or I may have an opportunity to, you know, go the legal route because maybe I felt like they, when
that
did
is
something.
considered, that's what's called wrongful termination of a contract or employment.
Right,
Okay,
right,
so there's a
right.
whole lot of ramifications that Ahmad is not even considering. That you just cannot be fired because you're charged with something. You can be put on leave, you can be put on suspension, but you cannot be fired because you are charged with something.
And that's
There
valid.
could
Yes, you
there
can.
there could be a
Yes, you
code of
can.
ethics if it's where if it could be in the verbiage that if you are charged with anything like this, I'm thinking it's something of that nature.
If
Yes.
it's in the
No, Virginia.
verbiage, correct.
Virginia is a work at will state. You can be fired for any reason, anytime. They do not need a reason.
But that is true too.
Virginia's work at will. You can be fired for no reason, anytime.
That's
But
true.
but at the
Yeah,
same
right to work state, correct?
but at the same time,
Correct.
Amy's right though, because you can't hold somebody's pending charges against them when it comes to a job. But we're not talking about a job. We're talking about a student because technically he's not considered an employee. He is considered a student athlete. And if it is in the clause of being a student athlete or a student, even a student at the University of Virginia, that you cannot be charged with these types of crimes, then they had the right to do so. Because
No,
he's a
AB.
not
No,
a job.
AB. I'm not. No, AB. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about Amy saying she can't be fired if she was accused.
Right, but I'm putting that into
Yeah.
perspective of just it, yes, we are a at will state, but that's for an employee standpoint. He's not considered an employee; he's considered a student. So if the clause of a student, you can't be charged with these things, then that's why he was suspended. He was taken out. Now, in regards to what Kelly said, she said he should have been suspended pending output of an investigation. That's where the situation lies. He was able to compete and play and be a part of the school the whole entire investigation through the fall. Now at this point, February, he's actually been charged. So the investigation has been concluded enough to where he has now been charged. We're at a different stage in this. So actually, even though there was an investigation, UVA did not suspend him at all. He played the full season. So we have to give props to UVA at that because somewhere the higher ups, they knew that this investigation was occurring. They gave him that grace to continue on to play the season based on the evidence that they had, which tells me they had the evidence that we now know that they didn't feel like this was a reason to actually get rid of him. But now the Commonwealth attorney is choosing to charge him and pursue this. We're at a completely different stage.
Right. But what we're saying, AB, is we're saying work at will. We're not saying him. We're talking about what Amy was saying about her job and not being fired because she's accused. We're not talking about the student. We're talking about as an employee in Virginia, you can be fired with or without cause for any reason.
You can be
Not
fired
the
for
not the
Tuesday.
student.
You can't, as a job and your employer, you are not supposed to be, you are not, it is against the law to hold somebody's pending charges against them because they've not been found guilty.
Correct. But you can be fired for any reason in the state of
Yeah,
Virginia without cause.
Right,
they're not refusing to hire him because he's been charged with
right,
rape. They are separating him from the program
correct.
pending. I theoretically pending the decision on the charges.
Right.
Um, we'll see. It's like Chad said. It's a right to work state. They can fire you because it's Tuesday. Uh, it doesn't really matter.
You might got James there. He's saying that, do we?
Well, yeah, that was
actually,
what I was asking earlier. Was he kicked out? Was he asked to leave?
He said
just-
students have
there
an
is-
honor trial.
Don't ask me how I know, but there is a difference.
He's not currently enrolled. That's the
Okay.
difference.
Well, yeah,
He's
but
not currently enrolled.
whose decision is that? That's my question. Whose decision is that? Is that his decision? Did he say, I don't want to deal with school
It
and
probably had to
this?
be the schools. I mean, it had to be the schools because the
Why?
school. Because he has
But
been.
if he said, I don't want to deal with classes and this, I would completely understand.
The only thing that we know is that he's not currently enrolled. That's all
Right.
we.
Yes. The why is the $64 question.
And obviously, not being enrolled means you're not a part of the football team. So we
Yes.
do not know at this point in time where it came from.
Right.
So give UVA some grace on that too, because Ed could be right. He may have said he's gonna not pursue classes at this time because he doesn't know, especially if he knew the charges were coming. If he knew these charges were coming, yes, he may have taken himself out of the situation until this gets resolved. But again, Kelly's worded, it's all terrible all the way around. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's nobody's going to win on this one.
No.
And like you said, it's the charge is always going to be there. So, it's I'm again showing my age here. There was a comedian by the name of Groucho Marx who had a quiz show. This was back in the late 50s. And one of his premier trap questions was, do you deny beating your wife? The gag is that there's no right way to answer that, except in this case it's not a gag. It's he says he did, she says he did, she says he did, he says he didn't. It's I'm not trying to trivialize anything, but I think this is going to come down to he said, she said, and it's a crapshoot at that point.
It's going to come down to what the text messages said, and why weren't those text messages given at the time of the original investigation before the charge came out? That's the question.
One more time.
If all of these text messages have just now appeared, that there was consensual, that they've been communicating, that all of this happened and it was consensual and nothing really happened and she wasn't raped and blah, 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 blah. Why was none of that given to the Commonwealth's attorney? Why was her phone not looked at by the
Maybe he doesn't think they're credible. I don't know. I can't speak to what he's thinking.
Again,
well, that's a good point. Well, I mean, Ahmad brought a good point because the prosecution doesn't want people to know about them. I'm sure that it was Jahmal's lawyer who is pushing this agenda of showing the text messages between the two, because there had to have been, this is investigation. So Jahmal, let's be real, Jahmal knew that this was going on. So I'm sure he provided this information already. But like Ahmad's saying, the prosecution doesn't want that part of this being put out because they want to push a different agenda. They want to push that it was rape and abduction.
It kind of sounds like they're trying to force him into some sort of a plea deal.
And he says, look at Ballhawk said they didn't know that Ahmad said he didn't know they didn't know that Jahmal Edrine had his receipts. Right.
Always keep your receipts.
That's probably what they weren't expecting that.
Let's be real. If Jahmal knew how she was acting, and these are the text messages that he received from her, because it says that she sent him text messages that states she didn't go to the police because she was raped. She went to the police to check to see if she was clean because he exposed her to bodily fluids. That's in the text messages. So maybe that's why the police didn't pursue it. They didn't find that it needed to be pursued. because the texts reflect that. But for some reason, the Commonwealth wants a win on this. Exactly. I mentioned this earlier. Ahmad said he cut her off. Edrine knew something was weird, cut her off in October. And then she filed a complaint with the university a couple days later. A Title IV, which Title IV means sexual discrimination, things of that nature. So I don't know what the university had to do with that.
I'd be curious to see the wording on that, because I'm not, on first glance, I'm not sure how that's discrimination.
I looked it up earlier. As soon as I read it, as soon as I read the article at 12:30 when I messaged y'all, I looked it up. What's a Title IV? And it was sexual discrimination, any type of discrimination based on sex. Don't know what that has to do with this charge, because the university is not even involved with this charge.
The act or the gender?
Is it because the university did not kick him out? Is it because the university did not take action when he's being investigated? Is that
Didn't happen on university property?
It doesn't matter. It's a county charge throughout my county.
Yep. So is that what she's doing? Is she mad? And again, this is where things start like trickling in my head. Like, he cut you off. You filed a complaint with the university. What was your agenda? Again, this was why I said in the beginning, if people like this, I know this is a triggering conversation because nobody wants to be made to feel like they're lying. But I'm basing what I'm saying based on the facts of what we have been published in this article, of what has been provided. What was your agenda? Because you said you didn't go to the police for a rape kit. You said you went to the police to prove that you were clean from being exposed to his bodily fluids, and that you were angry because he exposed you to bodily fluids, but you agreed to having sex with him unprotected. So that already is like blowing my mind, because you already know what you're getting into if you have unprotected sex with somebody. That's a given. Second of all, as a woman, I know to go to the doctor, not the police. So that's second red flag. Third red flag is him cutting her off and she going and doing a complaint at the university. You know that Jahmal is there on an NIL deal. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to ruin his career because you're mad because he didn't want to do something you wanted him to do? Are you mad because he didn't want to? Or
maybe he did something she didn't want him to do.
Are you doing this because you want some money? Are you doing this because you have a vendetta? I just because he doesn't want to be with you. I'm wrapping my head around this, and none of this makes sense. I'm just seeing red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, and none of it's making sense. And then I feel bad for Jahmal because he's sitting in a 4x4 cell. That a 4x4 cell can ruin you for the rest of your life mentally.
Claustrophobic just thinking about it.
So,
Ballhawks and Amy made a good point also. Is this even coming from her or the suits?
Lawyers wouldn't be chasing a payday, would they?
Say that again, Ed.
I said lawyers wouldn't be chasing a payday, would they?
I don't think it's the lawyers, because the Commonwealth's attorney, he don't get no money for this. He gets his regular paycheck.
He may have ambitions himself.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I just said earlier. It's high profile. It's a UVA football player. It's a UVA student who's on an NIL deal. I mean,
just replying to James, it's not a grand jury at this point, James.
And
it's evidence with detectives for the Commonwealth attorney. It's not even a jury at this point.
It's not an indictment. He's not been indicted. He's been charged. There's difference.
Yeah, there's levels to this. There's definitely levels to this. And I hope that it gets thrown out a lot earlier. Like, I hope that there's a motion to dismiss something, especially now that this is going and being more public. I hope that I even hope that because the girl's going to have to relive this. A girl's going to have to get on the stand and she's going to have to tell the truth.
Yeah.
About what she did. So hopefully it gets thrown out. But yes, Ahmad's right. At the end of the day, Jahmal's locked up and has been locked up for a week. For what? No bond. No bond.
Hmm. Well, this has been a deep, deep conversation. Um, and this has been a good thing, I think, to have this conversation at length. I mean, we're at an hour and not going on 10 minutes of this conversation, of this show. And
Yeah.
like I said before, I think it's something it's a conversation that needs to happen. A lot of things like this don't get discussed. A lot of times people will just be upset at each other, have preconceived notions, and just go on each side of the aisle and be upset with each other because of it. So let's have the conversation. Let's get everything out in the open. Let's get the facts out there. Have this conversation, and let's kind of see where everything falls and see where the real facts come out. And if things need to be rectified, let's get it rectified. Whoever is innocent.
There also needs to be something to the positive about something like this. And my thing would be, the positive thing is, these coaches or the university or counselors or whoever, the higher ups, they need to have conversations with these players.
I
I
think they
know,
do. I think
I
they
know
do.
that, I know that this should be a mother and a father's job to tell their children, when you go off to college, make sure you buy condoms, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. But it doesn't sometimes happen there, because the parents may not be comfortable having those conversations with their children. Okay. What I'm
Sure.
saying is this: you, as a school that is paying the amount of money that you are paying to these children, they are children. My children are 30 years old. Do you think that I did not have a conversation with my child that is leaving for England tomorrow about getting a will written advance medical directive, changing his beneficiaries if something happens to him and his wife when they're flying back across the pond in March to come to his brother's wedding? He's still my child. I still had that conversation. Somebody
Yeah.
at that school
It's
has
it's a
got
life
to
sentence, isn't it?
have a
So
conversation with these children about the kind of money and the kind of nasty gold digging people that are going to be coming around you after you, because you are in an upper echelon of income.
well, Amy, I think too, and I don't mean this in any disrespect. I just say this based on who I've hung around.
Well,
A different conversation has to be had with black men from their parents, because the world is not, as we've seen from this situation, that we've seen from many situations, the world is quick to judge a black man.
Yep.
Quick is The world is quick to crucify a black man. If the same thing was happening and it was a white kid, I'm not sure that it would be publicized the way that it's being publicized. Um, the world just is not good to black men.
Hmm.
And from I can't speak because I'm not black, right? Like, we know that. But I know that a different conversation has to be had with parents that have children that are African American, that going on to
Yeah.
school, that are men, that are especially men,
Yeah.
because of the way that the world is.
I had a conversation with my roommate from college shortly after the first time the um, first series of incidents in Minneapolis, and I asked my roommate from college was black. We lived together the last 2 years, um, and I asked him. I said, "Have has that ever happened to you?" And he says, "Yeah, twice." What? You know, I wasn't doubting him, but it was hard for me to get my head around that. And he was telling me about having that conversation with his son, who's now in college, and it broke my heart. I mean,
Yeah.
it's it's John's not just my roommate. He's this close to being my brother. If his tan wasn't so much better than mine, we probably would be. Um, he was in my wedding, I was in his. Um, but talk about having that conversation with his son, and his son seeing the deputy hold him at gunpoint. It just breaks your heart.
Oh
So yeah,
yeah.
you're right. That conversation does need to happen. It sucks that it does, but unfortunately, the world's a lot of things, but it ain't fair.
And I'm not saying that
Well,
it doesn't happen to white individuals, and I'm not saying that white individuals don't get in trouble. And I'm just putting this out there for everybody to know that I'm not like going one way or the other. I'm simply saying that we all know that Black men are viewed differently in society and are charged differently when it comes to the justice system. Like they're viewed a lot harsher, they're treated a lot harsher, and they're charged a lot of times for things that they don't do. And the justice system is not easy on them, and that's just how it's always been. I'm not saying that it's a white black thing. I'm saying that in general, when it comes to situations like these, people are quick to crucify and put in the public eye that a black man raped a white woman, or not. I'm saying a white woman, it raped somebody in general. Like, it's quick to be put out there that a black man did something, or the justice system is quick to charge and crucify and convict somebody of something that is African American in regards to especially stuff like this. So that's all I was going with that. Not saying it doesn't happen and that, black men are the only one that gets charged. I'm simply saying that the justice system isn't always fair, especially when it comes to people that are African American.
This is what I can say, being a black man myself and going through what I go through and have gone through in my life. And Ballhawk is right. 99% of black parents, we do have these conversations. We have had these conversations. But then it comes down to your judgment when you get outside your home. You can teach a kid anything in the world. You can teach them and train them up in every situation in life. But when they get outside of the home, and the same thing when I had my, a football academy, working with my other guys and the coaches, being part of the football academy, 757, we mentored young men. And, a lot of those conversations were had just about what we're talking about. We have to protect ourselves. This is one thing that when I got my first like professional job, pro job, was when I was got my first job at Cox High School teaching and coaching. Coach, the coach that hired me was a black man. And his first conversation with me was, I signed my my contract. He said to me, he pulled me aside immediately and he said, "Listen," he said, he said, as being on this coaching staff, he said, "You will never," he said, I repeat, never should and you never will be alone with a female.
Nope.
In any room, any circumstance, he said, there will be more than one person in the room with you and a female, regardless. He said it's about protecting yourself. I'm not saying anybody's going to do anything bad to you. I'm not going to say you're going to do anything bad. I'm just saying make sure you are not by yourself, number one, in the room with not only students, a young lady, just a woman on the staff, on the teaching staff. He said, do not find yourself, in a room by yourself with any other female. And that was some of the best information that I felt I received that has been with me my entire life. And he was just telling me the truth about, life and about getting myself in a situation that a lot of these young men possibly find themselves in because, it's just awful, what happens, with young men, black or white. But I know that my coach, being one of my mentors, like a father, I mean, you might as well call him a father to me, said, hey, you will never be in a room, as far as I have anything to do with it. These are your rules, our rules, but these are your rules. You need to follow with this. Never be in a room with any female, without someone else with you. And I said, but that just made me think, a young 20-something-year-old man, and it really made me feel, really made me think, really had me thinking that, man, this was this was a life-changing or a life-altering, mind-altering way that I had to start to think. So yeah, you're right. Everyone's right about that. We got it. Those situations, like Ball Hawk says, 99% yes. Every Black child, young man have had those conversations. Ball Hawk
Listen, let me say
says,
this.
I pray each day that my son, that he was told that he can return home, even if he's actually right. Shut up then, yeah, and get home. Yeah,
So
man.
let me say this. When I went to work for my attorney, I've worked for him for 15 years now. Every door in the office was a solid door. Could not see through it. The minute I went to that office, I made a phone call. The contractor came in. Every single door was changed from a solid door to a glass door.
Clear door.
You do not. I don't care if you're white, black, yellow, green. I don't care. Man, woman. You do not have a meeting in an office with an attorney or anybody
Mm-hmm.
with a door that is solid, one-on-one with opposite sex. I don't care who you are.
Oh, for sure.
And that's common sense. And I
Yep.
had to tell an attorney this. So I know that you're saying that 99% of these parents have these conversations with these kids. No, they don't. No, they don't. My parents are 82 years old. I am 62 years old. I have never had a conversation about my sex life or having the birds and the bees conversation with my parents.
I think he's referring to Black young men.
I don't care what he's referring to. I'm telling you, there's a different age of parents. I
Well,
have
we're also
always been open. I've always
we're
been
also in a
open with
different
my
time, though.
kids
Yeah, that's
about
true. We're at a different time too. That is, you got a
you're
point
at
with
a
that.
different time now in life. Parents did not have those conversations with their children. My parents didn't have it with me. I have chose to have it with my children. Some people don't want to have that conversation. And somebody has to have that conversation with these students that are getting this kind of money.
Well,
Because these women are bitches.
and I have a feeling that also
Lord.
the school has support that also talks to them about stuff like this. Just as a as an that's part of it. Like, hey, you're an athlete. This is what you need to do. This is how you need to present yourself. Remember that not all people are as good as they look, or as good as they may present themselves to be. Not everybody has a good soul. Not everybody has good intentions with you. So I'm sure that the school also and coaches have had these conversations with the guys, but I think, and I'm not saying one way or the other, but I understand where Ahmad's coming from on the side of African American families have to have this conversation with their kids a lot.
No.
And it's just because of how life has happened and things that have happened. And we're talking about, and it's happened to white kids. It's definitely happened to white kids too, but we're talking about, like, kids just being shot in the street. Oh, we thought he had a gun, or we thought it's much bigger than just going to school and being accused of rape or having the sex conversation. This is a much bigger conversation that African American families are having to have with their kids. When you get pulled over, just comply 100%, because it's automatically, like, you're automatically viewed as a threat. There's a lot of other things that are going into this conversation that has to be had with African American children, because the world hasn't always been great to them, and
Right.
and it hasn't always been great to any other races as well. I mean, we again, I'm not going to go into a deep dive, but let's just look at what we're doing with ICE. I'm there's a part that I agree with, there's parts that I don't agree with, and we're automatically just being judged by the color of somebody's skin or the way somebody looks. Just because they look like they might be Hispanic, let's detain them. Like that's the part of our system that has truly been screwed up, and we're just treating people wrongly. And I think a lot of it comes from not being able to trust people who are supposed to protect us, and that's what it all boils down to. So there's a different side of things that, as white individuals or white families, I don't think we understand. Not saying that we don't have conversations with our children. I know Chad has had conversations with his boys about how to act, how to present themselves, just like you have, Amy. But I don't know if we necessarily, as we have to worry about our kids going out and being pulled over and shot at a traffic stop. There's legit fear from an African American standpoint, that they have legit fear of even being pulled over from a speeding ticket, a pure panic, because of things that have happened in the past. So it's a bigger picture. And again, this is where it all boils down to one common denominator. And that's why we're here talking about this situation with Jahmal. Like I said earlier, we're not doing this. We're not having this conversation for likes. We're not having this conversation for comments. None of us make money off of this. We're simply having this conversation because it needs to be had. It needs to be had in defense of Jahmal, and actually showing that if he did not do this, we as a group, we as fans, support him at this time and hope the best for him, and hope that the people that are involved in prosecuting this case see the true facts, and that all of this comes down to Jahmal being able to come home tomorrow and potentially come back to UVA, and UVA do the right thing.
Yeah, I think that's the hope, and hopefully I mean, I don't even know where to go with that, because, if it's the other way around, the loss should happen the way the law is supposed to happen. But, let's pray for everybody that's in this situation. And my goodness, we got deep. You say no deep dive, baby. We got real deep with it. But, like I said, it's a conversation that had to be had. And, but yeah. Let's. I mean, we're supposed to do a rapid reaction for the basketball game.
I mean, we won. That was my
we won.
We won, y'all.
Yeah, we won. Rapid reaction, we won.
Just barely.
Yeah, just barely. But like I said, the team is playing, I think, at the same level they were all year. I mean, and now I think teams are playing better, and the team hasn't leveled up. I think they have to level up because they're being caught up with, or teams are catching up with them. But yeah. So it's definitely a situation where I think the team just has to play better moving forward. Thank goodness, that Jakari White came out and shooting the lights out again. But think about it, this team, you never know who's gonna put up 15 or 20 points on you. Because Sam was lighting it up for us for a little while, and Tester Ritter was lighting it up, and Jakari has had his moments. Chance has had his times as well, and also Thomas. Malik has had his. What's Malik's last name now? I'm losing my brain. Malik has had his times as well. So I just feel like, you never know who's gonna have a good game with these basketball Wahoos this year, but I like it because it's not they're not a one-trick pony, as Chaperone says. Chaperone says in her songs. But But I'm still excited. They got a big game this Saturday against Ohio State in Nashville. One of these off the radar games that they play at a neutral site. Let's see how the Wahoos play against another Big Ten program. Typically has a good basketball team as well. Ball Hawks not been pretty, but yeah, 21-3. That's a great start to any coach's tenure. 21-3 is they're doing their thing. But yeah, it hasn't been pretty lately, but they're they're getting the wins. You know what, Malik Thomas, thank you for that, James. But yeah, but these are the games you got to win. You got to win ugly. When you're talking about playing in the tournament, when teams really want to muck the game up and make it ugly and get a lot of fouls and all that. That's gonna change the game plan. Another thing is the team's 3-point shooting has really slowed down. And they're not scoring as many points, they're not getting as many opportunities because they're not running as much. But I think that's also because the team is the teams that they're playing have kind of drilled down and buckled down on them and learned how to play them a little better. But anything you'd like to say about the basketball game, AB?
I'm just glad we won because it wasn't looking good there for a little bit. But I'm glad we won. That's all.
What about you, Ed?
As James was saying, the UVA women are knocking on an NCAA door. That game Sunday at with Notre Dame was
awesome.
Great. I think that's the best game I've seen them play.
That's a signature.
Start to finish.
Yes.
They had some balance. It wasn't just the Mo show. It was you got contributions all up and down the lineup.
It was a signature win.
I think what's her name? The guard for Notre Dame. She started to get a little frustrated.
Oh yeah, she did. She absolutely did.
So I mean,
she's the absolute star.
She stole the ball from somebody. I can't even remember who it was. Oh, it was Mo, I think. Mo thought she was by her, and the girl just reaches out, swipes at it, and next thing you know, we're going the other way. She's just that good.
Hannah Hidalgo. There you go. Well,
Hidalgo.
Since she averaged like 4 or 5 steals a game, it's something ridiculous.
I believe it. I believe it.
It's something. It's got to be at least 3 to 4 that she averages a game.
Those are some quick hands. I mean, we're talking like Ricky Stokes quick.
But even so, quicker feet because her feet have to take her to the ball. Her feet. She has really quick feet. To get her there, to get her to the ball. Reaching. Gets you in trouble. But if your feet can get you there even quicker, that's what she has. She has really quick feet and exceptional hands.
I think she trades on those quick feet because she gets by with a lot.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I was telling my wife Sunday. I said I could be first team too if I can get away with this kind of stuff.
Sure, man.
But she's a great game, and like you were saying earlier, women's softball is they've had a good tournament. I think they were down in, what was it, South Carolina? I think it was a Coastal Carolina tournament or something like that. They split with Arkansas.
Yeah,
it's definitely been a successful debut to the spring season, and now baseball's starting off. And how did the cross do Sunday? It was tight with Colgate, and I never saw a final.
The cross won. I don't think it was a blowout, but it was a one. They won.
Well, it was a little bit weird because they were playing inside.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
They couldn't get on the field.
Man, I tell you guys. So it's been an hour and 34 minutes, and it got real deep. So
did it? I didn't notice.
Yeah. So, but great conversations, as we said. you got to have them. You got to have these conversations, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to solve anything
tough.
tonight, but
they're tough conversations. But if we're gonna grow as a nation, we're gonna grow as a community, and we're gonna start to understand each other. It's okay to listen to each other's differences and understand, why someone and learn why someone thinks the way that they do. Maybe it's what they've been exposed to is what I haven't been exposed to, and vice versa.
yeah,
Maybe we can come to some understanding and kind of see where we can all meet in the middle of it, of it all. So, but it's been a great show again. Thank you guys, for this. It's, I can't say enough about my crew here. Had everybody on, and let me go ahead and let you get your closing remarks. Ed, anything you got to say in closing?
No, like we were saying, I think tonight was a valuable hour and a half. It's the conversation. The conversation needs to be had, and one thing I've noticed that we need to learn to do is just listen. It's not about being right. It's just listening, exchanging ideas. I don't pretend to know everything, and I leave that for my wife. It's hey, 35 years. What's she gonna do? It's I don't pretend to have all the answers. And maybe the person I'm talking to has thought of something I haven't.
Right.
I remember back when the statues on Monument Avenue were coming down, some guy here in Gordonsville came up to me and said they just want to burn everything down. And I'm like, I don't know why you felt comfortable enough saying that to me, but you're about to regret it. I proceeded to tell him, they're angry, and I quite frankly, I don't blame them. And he was what? You can't be serious. Did I stutter? I told him about my roommate from college, arrested for driving while black.
Right.
He had to have a conversation with his son. Said I didn't have to have that conversation with my daughter. I had other conversations with her, but I didn't have to have a conversation about how to act when you're pulled over by a police officer.
That's right. But
that's the cold, hard reality of it.
That's right.
That sucks, but you a lot of people need to learn that the side of the road is not a courtroom. Don't argue your case there. Go to court.
Well said. AB?
So my closing monologue, I am going to say that I hate that I even gave that much attention to the Augusta Free Press, but I'm going to give it to them one more time. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be absolutely ashamed of yourself. And quite frankly, you should feel like shit. So I think that you're wrong for what you have published. I think you are wrong for how you published it. And you should work on your tact because it sucks. So other than that, that's it for me tonight, y'all.
Okay. Well, what I like to say is let's pray for the best for both kids. You know that? That's what I got to say. Just pray for the best for both kids. Misunderstanding gone wrong, maybe. Hopefully more of these facts come out so we can kind of, get through this, and maybe both of them can have a redemption story down the road. But hopefully, both these kids come out better on the backside of this and get through this. But God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in, and let's keep having these conversations. That's what it's about, y'all. Let's keep having these conversations. But got to thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us all night on this show. Very important conversation we had, but thank you for tuning in. But as of tonight, this shop is closed. Thank you, guys. We will see you next week.